All right, what up? It's your boy KJ, the host of the Broadcast Podcast, SL Sports Language, giving you the livest, latest news about sports. And I'll put it to you like this. If you got an opinion, debate me about it. If you disagree with what I say or said, you can debate me about it. Hold on. If you don't like what I said, debate me about it! Speaking of debating me about it, put it in the comment section. Hold on. The comment section, like, comment, subscribe, so you get your latest news and information about sports. So let's start the day. I'm back. So we gotta talk about my main man, John Wall. You feel me? John Wall, number 2, balling. The Dougie. Ooh, the John Wall dance. Remember that? Oh my gosh, man. So John Wall, number 2, the True, Willard in the $2 bill. He's retiring. He announced it a couple of days after 11 seasons. I mean, John Wall, man, he's the truth. Number 1 draft pick, 2010 NBA draft. Pretty much the number 1 player coming out of high school, coming out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Going to Kentucky. He was on one of those great teams, one of the most great teams in college basketball, Kentucky, to never win a national championship. That's when he had DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, John Wall. That was a pretty good team. That was one of the first teams that I remember that year to where all you heard was number 1 draft picks. And if you really want to know the one and dones, like, okay, so before the one and dones of the Kentucky era, you had the one and dones like, you know, the Memphis era, back when he had D Rose, and there was another player too, but he had like an intestine problem, but they went one and done. And then of course, when John Calipari had Coach Cal went to Kentucky, that's when he really started those one and dones. That's when he was like, bro, what if we can do this with each and every player that has a chance to create generational wealth? You go from generational low income to all it takes is one to stop that generational poorness, generational being in low income, to that one player, whether it be top 10, top 5 lottery pick, generational wealth. So shout out to Coach Cal, even though, you know, they have some opinions about him, but, you know, John Wall, man. John Wall, bro. At one point, he was like the second coming of D Rose, but then it was like, nah, he different. Can you say he's better? I don't know. Can you say he had a better career? Maybe. But my man John Wall, multiple All-Star appearances. I remember when he made that All-Star appearance in 2014. He was the dunk contest winner. I think one of the last superstars are part of that whole dunk contest, because LeBron wasn't in the dunk contest. But I remember that. Besides like Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, but John Wall, bro, he was that dude. Especially when him, Bradley Beal coming out of the University of Florida, and then you had Marshall Gatot, you had Nene. Bro, that team was a nice team with a chip on their shoulder. And then the 2015 NBA playoffs, they swept the Toronto Raptors. I don't believe they didn't make it past the Atlanta Hawks because of injury. Then 2016, they tried to do their thing. But 2017, it was close. 2017, they could have made it to the East Conference Finals. But they was, you know, they were stopped by my main man, IT, Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley, and, you know, the Kelly Olynyk with the Boston Celtics at that time. But I mean, man, John Wall, I mean, his legacy will always flourish. His legacy will be solidified. And his jersey has to be retired. And I think he's going to be the all-time Wizard, number 1. Because, yeah, you got Manute Bol, you got Muggsy Bogues, but they ain't known for Manute Bol being the tallest player and Muggsy Bogues being the shortest player ever, you know what I mean? Besides like Nate Robinson or IT, but they was a pretty cool duo. And that's back in the Bullets. That's back in the Bullets back in the day, back when it was the Washington Bullets. And then, if a lot of people remember, you had Juwan Howard and Chris Webber. They used to play on the same team on Washington Bullets. Believe it or not, at one point, my main man, Ben Wallace, he actually played for the Bullets when he was undrafted coming out of the Euro League, but that didn't last too long. And then, of course, you know, later on, MJ, Kwame Brown, I believe, I can be wrong, but Was it? I think it was Jerry Stackhouse. Yeah, that just didn't work. You know, the Washington Bullets / Washington Wizards been down for a long time until my main man Gilbert Arenas. Agent Zero came in. That's when Agent Zero was balling. You know what I mean? Him, Brandon Haywood, like they was really putting in that work, making playoff appearances, even though they couldn't get past LeBron. But then, you know, my main man Nick Young came in. Now Nick Young came in, he was doing his thing, balling, but he was more of a jokester. You know what I mean? The Wizards wasn't flourishing yet, right? The Wizards didn't flourish yet until that one pick. And that just shows you, sometimes all it takes is one pick. And I got to see it in flesh. I got to see it in real time. When John Wall got drafted, did it change overnight? No. But that one pick, it really did transcend the Washington Wizards' like whole trajectory. They was at one point up, down, then it was stagnant, and first round playoff. To my man John Wall, he coming in, right? He changes the culture, he changes the scenery, he changes the atmosphere in terms of the DMV, because the Redskins wasn't really on anything at that time, neither the Commanders, so they wasn't really on anything at that time. You know what I mean? So they wasn't really balling like that, especially with RG3 coming in, but then he got injured. So you know, the Washington Commanders, which was the Redskins back then, their hopes and dreams were shattered. So we don't know what's going to happen with them. Ironically, I got this jersey on. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. So then when John Wall came in, he came in with flash, panache, you know what I mean, quick. You know what I mean? Just a whole bunch of smile, brighten up a room, just him having fun. I remember when he first came into the league, I never forget this. Before John Wall was with Adidas, let me see if y'all real fans or not. Before John Wall was with Adidas, John Wall was with Reebok. That's when they had that zigzag Reebok. I remember I told my mom to buy those. That's when I used to go to Lincoln Martini in elementary. People was like, man, you hyped up about those? Yeah, that's way before John Wall went to Adidas. That's when he first got into the league. That's when he had them zigzags. Yeah, man, pretty interesting. But yeah, man, coming up, man, John Wall was really that guy. Quick, fast, can move the ball, pass the ball, and selfish, and can take over the game if need be. And this before he really had a three-pointer. This one, he would just get to the hole. That's what I like about John Wall. See, you got to think about it. Like I said, when John Wall came in, he changed that whole organization around. Plus with Bradley Beal. So you got Bradley Beal, John Wall. So now the Wizards is steady on the incline. And then when they get the key pieces like Marcin Gortat, when they get Nene, etc., now they boom, going up, making playoff appearances, consistent playoff appearances. They just couldn't get over that hump. Now, John Wall, I don't care what anybody says, John Wall, in terms of the 2010s, now maybe in all eras together, you can make an argument in terms of the 2010s, John Wall is not, if not the top 10, most definitely the top 5 point guard of all time in the 2010s. Yes, John Wall of the 2010s is the top 10, if not top 5 point guards of all time. And that is competing against the Kyrie Irvings, competing against the Isaiah Thomas, competing against the Nate Robinsons, competing against the Jamal Crawford, even though he was like a point guard, 2 guard. That's competing against the CP3s, aka point guard. That's competing against Rajon Rondo. That's competing against who else I can put in that in terms of the 2010 point guards coming up? Eric Bledsoe, when he had his good season, that's competing against, Kyle Lowry. Yeah, because Kyle Lowry, you know, he was chubby at one point. He was doing this thing. That's competing against Raymond Felton. Even though Raymond Felton, when he got to the 2010s, after the Lakers, he just wasn't it no more. And that's competing against Ty Lawson. Back then, you got to remember, the PG pool, the point guard pool in the 2010s was deep. Yeah, in the 90s, you had like Isaiah Thomas. You had John Stockton. You had GP, Gary Payton, a.k.a. The Glove. You had Nick Van Exel of the Lakers. Yeah, you had my man Penny Hardaway doing this thing with the Magic. But, you know what I mean? You had Ron Harper too back in the 90s. But the 2010s was stacked full of PGs. Kyrie, gotta remember, who came a year after my main man John Wall in 2011. Then you gotta think about CP3. He was like the point guard at that time. I don't know who else was competing with CP3 during the early 2010s, especially when he went to LA Clippers. Then you got to think about D Rose. D Rose was still doing his thing in the 2010s. Matter of fact, he was the MVP 2012. So that just shows you the type of power D Rose had, how he was balling. Then, believe it or not, you know, Monte Ellis wasn't really coming. No, not Monte Ellis. Steph Curry. My fault, y'all. Steph Curry wasn't really coming of age yet. Steph Curry didn't become Steph Curry. He wasn't Steph Curry with the pop, boy. He wasn't that yet. Steph Curry came like later. Like he came around 2015, 2016. Because even in 2014, Steph Curry was the dude that, you know, could pass the ball, move the ball, shoot the ball like his dad. But in 2015 and 2016, when he became the undisputed MVP, when there was like, okay, you the MVP off rip, and it was back-to-back. That was later wrong. When John Wall came onto the scene, John Wall already had a buzz. You already had defenses trying to line up to stop John Wall, whether it be the trap, whether it be trying to put your best man on John Wall. And 8 times to 9 times out of 10, that didn't even work. Because soon as if it was a fast break, boom, somebody gets the rebound, pass to John Wall, he taking it zigzag, boom, 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 layup, boom, 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 layup, and one, boom, 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 kick out. And it's before John Wall became deadly, once he started to have a shot, when he started to have a jump shot, once he started to get better. John Wall was that guy. And like I said, that's during the 2010s now. That's going against the D Roses. That's going against the Kyries. That's going against the Chris Paul, aka CP3. That's going against, too, at that time, Monte Ellis was that dude a little bit, and then Robinson was that dude a little bit. You know, they was under the cracks, so you had to watch out for them. That's going against the Jeff Teagues. Shout out to Jet, or JT. That's going against George Hill for the Indiana Pacers. That's going against, like I said, Kyle Lowry. Look at the 2015 playoffs. Look what John Wall did to the in Game 1 against the Toronto Raptors. That set the whole tone, and they got swept. Yes, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Marcin Gortat, and them dudes for the Wizards swept DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, the Toronto Raptors. They swept them. I'll never forget that series. They brought the brooms out, y'all. I said they brought the brooms out, y'all. I said they brought the brooms out, y'all. So, I mean, John Wall's that guy. John Wall will always be that guy. Now, you know, he's a part. At one point, he was a part of the conversation of one of the best backcourts, and those two were my dudes. And that backcourt was John Wall and Bradley Beal. John Wall at the 1, Bradley Beal at the 2. If John Wall wasn't hot, Bradley Beal put up them 3s, put up them 2s. John Wall take it to the hoop. You know what I mean? Play some defense. You know what I mean? A lot of people too don't sleep on John Wall defense. John Wall was that guy when it came to defense a little bit as well. John Wall, you can't consider him as a defensive point guard. Would it be going for steals? Would it be stopping your best player? Would it be causing charges? Yes, John Wall was a defensive point guard. He's not like these other point guards. Oh, I do good on offense, but on defense, like a James Harden or like a Kyrie or like a who else can I say? Like other like point guards that wasn't really defensively sound or minded. John Wall, he had the best of both worlds. Offense good, but defense sometimes would even be better. So shout out to John Wall using his God-given abilities and his wingspan. So, you know, like I said, him being a part of one of the best backcourts, him and Bradley Beal, or the 2010s now. I don't want you OGs to have your pennies in your butt talking about some, oh, how could you say one of the best backcourts? And no, chill out. 2010s had some good backcourts, and I'm just keeping it 2010s. So you had John Wall, Bradley Beal, the Wizards. You had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Splash Brothers, Golden State. You had, even though it was short-lived, Kyrie Irving, Dion Waiters, Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, at one point, like, there was conversations. And for me, it was John Wall and Bradley Beal, because for one, they was winning, and for two, like, they represented the East, and for three, them dudes was really doing their thing, brother. They was putting DC on the map in terms of basketball, because like I said before, Washington, you know, at that time, the Redskins, now the Commanders, they was down. Their hockey team I can't really speak too much on them, but they wasn't really raising no cane in the city. And the Wizards was really doing a lot, bro. Now, of course, later on with John Wall's injuries, and I didn't know this, I just found this out like during his interviews and his podcast appearances, like dude was put through the ringer. I mean, him nearly his career ending, and you know, him had his foot almost being amputated because of an infection, and him being traded to Houston, to where it's like, wow, this is all he knows. You know, John Wall been playing with the Wizards since day one, since 2010. So when he got traded later on, I think headed to the 2020s, I mean, you seen John Wall grow from coming into the league with no tattoos, from him becoming fully tatted. And then, you know, all the stuff that he did for the city, give back to the city off the court, him being respected, his family becoming accustomed to that city. So when he got traded to the Houston Rockets, I mean, it was cool. But even though after the whole James Harden debacle, the way James Harden left, but you know, he tried that. Then him getting traded to LA Clippers and trying to make that work. And you know, I felt like he was gonna get his mojo back. But John Wall, man, you did your thing. You did all that you can do, even though your career didn't end it like how you wanted it to end, and even though you don't have a chip, man, you still one of the best. And I think, whether it be first or second ballot, you Hall of Fame to me, bro. You Hall of Fame. You did everything you're supposed to do, and not just in the league. We gotta put in effect what you did in college. We gotta put in effect what you did coming in your rookie season and the following seasons after that. So John Wall, man, and if you don't even get into the Hall of Fame, which that wouldn't even make no sense, but you're gonna get your jersey retired. I'm here to say it first. John Wall's jersey's gonna be retired. It's gonna be retired. It's gonna be retired before Gilbert Arenas. It's gonna be retired before Nick Young, which if his jersey do get retired in the Wizards. But shout out to Nick Young. His jersey's gonna get retired before Bradley Beal's. Even though Bradley Beal, when he retires, his jersey's gonna get retired at that center with the Wizards. John Wall, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be one of the first player out of the 2010s to get his jersey retired. It's gonna happen. That number 2 is gonna be in the banners, man. So don't wait too long either, because it's gonna happen sooner than you think. You know what I mean? In due time, because you deserve it. You did it. And only a fool will see that John Wall doesn't, his jersey's not gonna get retired. Only a fool is gonna think like that, because he deserves it. I mean, putting up so many points in games. Would it be 20 points per game, nearly 30 points per game? Would it be the game winner against the Boston Celtics in the second round of the playoffs, to where John Wall even said that was the biggest shot of my career, because I didn't want to go home. Forced to game 7, going on to the scoreboard table, pounding your chest, letting them know that this is my city and I represent this place. I mean, bro, at the age of 0, you know what I mean? Even though when you came to take Gilbert Arenas' spot, dude, the Wizards was on a decline. Especially after that whole backlash with the whole gun case, and Gilbert Arenas was losing his mojo. He was getting past his prime. Bro, John Wall really saved that franchise with a couple of key pieces. Him and Bradley Beal was the only stars of that team. And then you got co-stars, or not even co-stars, complementary players. Because you got big threes, you got duos, and you got co-stars, or you got complementary players. Marcin Gortat, Nene, you had other players on that team. I forgot some of their names. My main man, Kelly Oubre, coming out of Kansas. He was a great complementary player. A great supporting cast. I felt like a great steal in the draft too, coming out of Kansas at that time. Like, them dudes was balling, bro. From the stretch of 2014 to 17, you can say 18 a little bit, them dudes was really putting in work. It's just sad that they tried to do so many schemes and do so many plots. Like, okay, they tried to bring in Dwight Howard. That really didn't work. They tried to, I don't even know why they got Paul Pierce. Like that, I guess. But, yeah, man. My main man, John Wall, is retiring. Number 2, what it do? We appreciate you. And man, John Wall, I hope you see this. John Wall, you have put a smile on many people's faces. You have represented the hard work, the gritty, the grimy, the fast-paced basketball, taking it from the streets to the league, you know. And man, we appreciate you. Even what you did in our off season, whether it be Ballers Life off season, those vlogs, man, those vlogs motivate me. If you haven't seen it, watch for John Wall Ballers Life, man. The off season, season 1 and season 2. Dude, non-stop put in work. That's another thing about John Wall. His work ethic was up there. You know what I mean? And we don't know what happened in those locker rooms. We don't know why they couldn't put not enough of talent around John Wall to take him, like I said, over the hump. Even though you still had LeBron in the East at that time. And it was a problem. It was a problem. John Wall's not the only one that had to deal with that. You know what I mean? Isaiah Thomas had to deal with that. The Atlanta Hawks had to deal with that. Even the Boston Celtics at that time, when they were close. And then, ironically, now when LeBron left the East to go to the West, Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum were able now to get over the hump and make it to the NBA Finals. So, I mean, John Wall, you did what you could. You tried your best. Man, we respect you. I give you nothing but praise, my brother. And live a full life, man. Enjoy the time with your family. You know what I mean? Enjoy the fruits of your labor. And John Wall, man, he retired. He'll never be forgotten. And soon his number will be retired. It's your boy KJ, host of the Broadcast Podcast, SL Sports Language, giving you the latest news and topics about sports. And I'll put it to you like this. If you got an opinion, debate me about it. If you disagree with what I say or said, you can debate me about it. But hold on. If you don't like what I say or said, debate me about it! Speaking of debate me about it, put it in the comment section. Hold on in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out, man. God bless. And hey, road to 1,000. You almost at 500. Road to 1,000, y'all. Thank you. Thank you for the support.